All right, welcome to day 2 of the 25 days of review, and we're gonna keep the trend of doing 3 albums from my backlog, and then whatever today's album was. So let's kick things off with Neon Jungle by Close, submitted by Nick. It was good. I think it was fine. It was a little bit forgettable. It was nice, chill, electronic. And I did like the track Winter is Coming. I thought that was a lovely track. But overall, just not a lot of very standout moments. Not a lot that really grabbed my ear, captured my attention and interest. But at no point was it unpleasant. I thought it was fine all the way through, if a bit boring. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to say, you should or shouldn't like some kind of music because it is or isn't in line with my taste. I just felt like there was room for improvement, room for some more excitement in there. And I understand by the nature of it being a more laid-back type of electronic album, you obviously don't want too much excitement in it. That was Biscuit. Biscuit just knocked over the suitcase we're using to keep Muffin away from the litter box. So give me just 1 minute. I'll keep talking. Oh, thank you, Allie. I love you. Anyways, Neon Jungle was good. I think it did its job well of being, chill electronic and relaxing. But when you do that, you risk not being very engaging. And I think that's kind of where this fell off for me. But nothing particularly against it. And Winter is Coming was a good track. I did really like that. The other ones just didn't do it for me. So Neon Jungle by Close, I'm going to give that a 6.5 out of 10. Then we got GIZMO by Tanuki-chan, submitted by Evan. And I always say this, especially when it comes to Evan, because Evan loves shoegaze, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I like some shoegaze, but it is hit-miss for me. And now Biscuit's using the litter box. This is a big shit show over recording, but we're going to keep going. Shoegaze is kind of hit-miss for me. And this was a hit. One thing that I think shoegaze can get a little too indulgent with is being muddy. And I know that's kind of the signature. That's the point of so many effects and so much volume being put out there that it does, to some extent, blend together and meld together. And that's what can make it really lovely. But it can kind of fall into the background if there isn't something that stands out about it. And what GIZMO did, that I think a lot of shoegaze could be improved by doing, is really making the percussion hit. And GIZMO did a great job of that. The percussion, all the percussion instruments were extremely crisp. They came through, and they came through well. They accented the rest of that atmosphere brilliantly. They provided a base, like a ground level that everything else kind of clung to. And I just don't hear that a lot, or at least not nearly as much as I would like to, in a lot of shoegaze. Beyond that, I really liked the vocalist. I think she had a lovely voice, and it really accented the instruments well. But to some extent, I think GIZMO is pared down shoegaze. It certainly doesn't have those mind-crushing walls of noise that you might be expecting or wanting, but it doesn't really need to. I think it excels at doing its own thing, and I gotta respect it for that. So, GIZMO, one of the nicer shoegaze albums I've listened to. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. I liked it. I liked it a good bit. But now we have Faith in Strangers by Andy Stott from Brendan. And I loved this album. I thought this album was incredible. So, I thought it was unique. And somehow paired and almost... Let me step back. None of the instrumentation, none of the sound of this album was necessarily ambient. But a lot of the time, the feeling was. It was minimal. It was minimalistic. But the moments that shouted and screamed and blew you away, they did a phenomenal job at that. I think it might be close, but I really don't think it is. I think that Violence is my single favorite track from Music Club. Something about it just makes me feel like I'm committing cyberpunk war crimes in a water war. It's just so brutal. Listening to it, volume up, bass blasting, it just washes over me. And oh, I love it. I love it so much. And that's not to say that's the only good song. It's definitely my favorite, but we also got Science and Industry, Time Away, No Surrender. No Surrender goes incredibly hard too. Just so many tracks that weren't necessarily overwhelming, but did continue to go hard and really, really hit the mark. So, Faith in Strangers by Andy Stott, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Now, wrapping up the day, we had Music Has the Rights to Children by Boards of Canada. This one submitted by me. And we've talked plenty about Boards of Canada. We've had Gio Gotti, that was on there. A Beautiful Place in the Country, that was on there. So if you listen to either of those, or if you've just listened to Boards of Canada in general, you should have a pretty good understanding of what their aesthetic and what their tone is. Almost like PBS core, but with a lot of groove. I can't talk either. This recording sucks. I'm sorry. A lot of groove, a lot of rhythm, a lot of intrigue and build. And while I think all their albums are great, Music Has the Right to Children is the only one I'm going to give a 10 to. It is my favorite because I think it has the most cohesion, it has the most hype moments and hype songs, and the flow between shorter, more abstract tracks and the longer, really continuous, really getting into a motif and a theme is so good. Aquarius is a shorter track and it bangs, and 6010 is a longer track and it bangs, and Telephasic Workshop bangs. Everything bangs on this album. You can listen to it in the background and it's nice and it feels like you've done acid in Elmo's World. Maybe not Elmo's World. What's a PBS show? Bob Ross? I don't know. Nostalgia, saturated. Everything feels hyper saturated, and it's just so soothing, but so stimulating and so engaging. It meets you wherever you're at. If you want something in the background, it's not going to force itself on you. It's not going to make you pay attention to it. But if you want to give it everything you have, if you want to really consciously listen to it, it's going to reward you for that. It's going to say, okay, here's how deep the rabbit hole does go. But it's never going to make you do that. It's never going to make you fall in. It's never going to make you fall down. It's just simply inviting you. It's a very inviting and inclusive and complete, well-rounded, beautiful masterwork of an album from a band that I think really can't go wrong. Boards of Canada are just so unique in the sound that they've crafted and the identity they've made that it's hard to really distinguish one album from another. But I think if you do dive into their discography and you give it a listen all the way through, I don't really see, or at least it would take some explaining to have me understand how anyone could say Music Has the Right to Children is not the best piece in their discography. So I kind of not buried the lead. I said it earlier. It's a 10. It's perfect. Music Has the Right to Children is a perfect album. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow.